I'm going to try to make this shorter than 15 minutes. It will be an effort. A long time ago, back when it was able to be done, I set up a limited liability company under a human-sounding name without saying LLC at the end of it. At one time, you could set up businesses this way. Look up J.J. Luna's How to Be Invisible, and it talks about setting up straw man companies to represent you. You can have a car that's owned by an LLC. You can be the executor of this LLC. And at one time, as the person said, J.J. Luna, you could also give it a name so it would look like a human owned it. You had to have some paper trail to say it was not a human, but that's not the problem. This made it to where it was really difficult for people to track you down and harass you. It's also used by criminals. But anyway, I lived in a town at one time that made it to where I could legally, either for cheap or for free, set up a limited liability company, set up a company name, because they wanted a lot of company names in the city to make it look like it was a more important city. And they let me get away with doing this because they didn't have a rule against this at the time. And it's grandfathered in. Just the same as Ralph Lauren, which is a company name and also a person's name. Ralph Lauren can be a human-sounding name, and it's a business. That's it. Now, that name is something someone dug up. It's not my name, but someone dug it up and decided to say it is. Doesn't change that it's not my name. It's also a generic name. It's the second or third most generic name I could invent. It's also a variation on part of my name. Now, fast forward, way forward. I'm on the internet. I get on YouTube. I set up a YouTube channel. I start debunking people when they post videos about something that is simply not true. And my procedure for it, I'll explain really quickly. I literally take people at their word that they know what they're talking about, that they can prove what they're saying, and I look for the proof. And then, inevitably, I only cover subjects like this, of course. When they refuse to provide proof, I point out that refusing to prove what you said means that no one has to listen to you, and I'm allowed to state that you refusing to provide proof means that you probably haven't shown proof of anything because you don't have it because it's not real. Other cases, they'll provide some sort of proof, and then I'll go through and examine it and find out that it's easily found to be a fake, or they're just reposting someone else's work. Now, forward. On YouTube, originally, you'd set up a YouTube channel, and you had to use a unique name, which means if someone else came along named John Smith, you couldn't type in John Smith and have it be a name. You had to add letters and numbers at the end or come up with something more creative. Next. Later on, they changed the rules to where they wanted people to use their full legal name. And again, the problem with that is then they had to allow people to have duplicate names all over YouTube, which meant other people would have the same name, and also it meant that people could impersonate each other and fuck with other people by trolling them. At one point, someone became insulted by one of my videos and said that I treated them in a rude way. That was their justification. They never explained it beyond that point. And this person tried to get me kicked off YouTube by setting up other YouTube accounts, copying my channel name and putting in all of my information in it, and trying to make me look bad by going around acting like they're me and then treating people like shit. And then Google and YouTube came up with this unique tool. It allowed corporations to set up multiple accounts with lots and lots of emails, and everybody would get a YouTube account. So people, of course, ignored the email thing. It was to try to promote Gmail. And people would use it to make 100 clone accounts at the same time because it would take a name. You could say, yeah, make it AT&T, and then just number it. 1 through, 0 through 99. Or you could use alphanumerics. It was a really cool tool, apparently. So this guy got a hold of it and made 300 fucking waptek accounts. Went around on the internet, tried to make me look like shit. And since they were all made at the same time, I had to point out to YouTube, I think 50 times before they got it through their thick skulls. You can see this person making all these accounts. These accounts are the ones doing all the nasty shit. Saying some really terrible things, by the way. Trying to make me look bad. And they also had to admit that flagging me for something that obviously happened on this channel over here, that's not acceptable. Google and YouTube actually had to deal with the fact that they'd created a monster. And I pointed out, all you have to do is find out what all of these accounts have in common. They have the same date. I also went through and archived all of the accounts so that I could prove that they existed in case somebody looked at them. And all of the comments they left. Because at one time, YouTube let you search for someone's comments. I just typed in my channel name and looked for all the comments I never left. It was easy to research this shit. And I'd archive what they said, because you can archive the individual comment and responses. And then I'd forward that to YouTube and Google and say, I have a case for you needing to erase these accounts. It's one person. Punish them. Eventually they did because they were sued. And because people started using this to troll other people to try to get them to kill themselves or to threaten to hurt people, impersonating others. Proxy trolling. It's actually created on YouTube. Anyway, that era ended. But during that time, obviously me archiving this and other people screenshotting it because they were insulted and thought it was me, I did have a video that says, I'm sorry you were trolled by an impersonator account. YouTube and Google won't fix it. Let's all complain to them. And we actually had a kind of a letter writing campaign to get rid of the problem. But because some of the things this person said were so horrible, people who wanted to get back at me for debunking their stupid perpetual motion machine video or their space alien video would go through and look at these things and say, Waptek is a bad person. These are the things to look at. Now, I remember I mentioned the LLC, right? Well, one of these guys, who's a brilliant little puppy, found a way to dig up that I used my LLC name on one of my web pages on a website I had. Yeah, because it was a business name. But it doesn't look like a business name. It doesn't say LLC. Well, it doesn't have to. Again, it's so old, I have this grandfathered thing. It's like some of you see YouTube accounts that are so old they have really specific names, or they have animated icons, which you can't do anymore. They're grandfathered in. I use that business name. And you can go look it up, you'll find it, but I'm not acknowledging it. It's not me, it's a business name. So, this other brilliant little bub found that and decided to look at all these trolling going on by the proxy trolls and say I'm a terrible person and say my real name and used an address that doesn't exist because it's in the middle of a lake, that sort of thing. So that's what happened with that. Now, later on, someone else picked up on this because I debunked her perpetual motion machine. This is the channel name Hope Girl. Hope Girl was interesting. Unlike everybody else, and I mean literally everybody else I've seen that's done a perpetual motion project or scam, depending on what it ends up being, she actually open sourced the design, which is unheard of. I mean, it really is. So I evaluated the circuit diagram and put up a video pointing out that it couldn't work because it had two very, very simple errors that everybody makes when they make circuit boards. It won't work. I also offered corrections for it and also redrew it so it's much more clearly done for the video so that I wouldn't be violating her copyright, because it's technically a copyrightable work. I made a version that wasn't broken and gave it away so she couldn't get any investor money or something. So she got mad at me. Now, what did she do? Did she point out that I made a mistake about the diagram, or that I don't know what I'm talking about, or come up with some complicated explanation? No. She set up an entire website calling me a child molester, because that's the easiest way to debunk me, pointing out that, Hope Girl, you put a dead short across a transformer. What the hell are you doing? Pop a fuse every single time. I mean, really, this is elementary. So anyway, this was picked up on recently by a YouTuber that needed to find something about me. I don't have much about me except my YouTube channels. And instead of pointing to my YouTube channels or pointing to anything I've actually done, this person exclusively pointed to the proxy trolling by that person who set up 300 accounts, and Hope Girl's website talking shit about me. A lot shit. And also, she, by the way, plagiarized the assertions made by someone else who got my business name. So we're now at 5 layers of trolling and harassment. So, I mean, this has happened for literally, I don't even know how many years now. So there's not really any point in worrying about it. The worst I ever had was somebody saying, give me $500 or I will set up hundreds of websites about you, which that person did, about me and other people. Okay? This is a common tactic on the internet. It doesn't matter that I'm debunking the guy's UFO story, ESI investigations or whatever. It doesn't matter. The first thing they go for is accuse you of some crap you never did on purpose and try to dox you. So what did Paul Mobley do in the last X number of days? He posted a video where he's outing me and another person, Forbid TV. Forbid TV debunks incorrect information about the disaster at Fukushima, which should give everybody the idea that maybe we shouldn't do nuclear power anymore. I'm against nuclear power, by the way. But like Forbid TV, I debunk anything that's not true about it. If you want to make nuclear power go away, don't lie about it. That doesn't get rid of it. And because Forbid TV re-uploads copies of some of my videos, or excerpts from it, with my permission, I became a target for Paul Mobley, because Paul Mobley is mistrustful of the nuclear power industry, just like me, and even Forbid TV can be. But instead of assuming that maybe talking to me would work, or maybe debunking my videos, instead, he, for specific reasons that are in his comment section under the video, decided to repost the repost of the trolling through 300 accounts and someone finding an LLC name and thinking it's my name. That's dead ass what happened. That's it. That's the entire story. All because I also debunk conspiracy theories about Fukushima. You don't need conspiracy theories. Fukushima and Chernobyl show you nuclear power probably isn't something we should be using. It's simple. I just don't think it's worth it. But anyway, this person's comments in the comment section are following. Someone asked him about the other channel. Forbid TV associates himself with some real creeps, and apparently I'm the real creep. I'm a creep, and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so, I guess you weren't kidding about taking them down. So this is a common thing where people want to appear heroic, where they're going to fight the power, like I have any. Again, what I do on my channel is I look for the low-hanging fruit. If someone makes a claim that Fukushima put off X number of radiation value in Portland, Oregon, I just walk out with a Geiger counter and check it. One of my relatives is part of the group of people that is part of the Citizen Radiation Monitoring System. That relative is against nuclear power. That's why those are set up. Those aren't run by the government. Those are run by people who are angry at the nuclear power industry and are monitoring them. But anyway, Paul Mobley apparently thinks I've done something to go after him. Can you believe he has the nerve to keep going even after being tied to this freak? And apparently I'm the freak, waptek. I'm always safe. Not only did my grandfather and father teach me better, but my training ensures it. I'm not sure who this person is at this point. I'm not kidding at all. They made it personal when it didn't have to be, and caused such change in my life that will be with me for the rest of my life. I will prove that these people did to me and someone else, and will not stop until it's done. If they get the best of me and no longer here, I have ensured that not only this information keeps spreading, but the people involved will always have the light shown on them, no matter how many links to my chain they track. They can never track all of it. And I can never be stopped for what they did, and know who they've been working with is no secret. Okay, now the last minute of this. Paul Mobley has not explained to me why this was done. And Paul Mobley is actively posting things that have nothing to do with Fukushima or anything that happened to him. It's Hope Girl, angry at me for pointing out she made a mistake on a circuit diagram, reposting a bunch of other trolls' work. Paul Mobley, you're not showing any merit to your argument. You're not even telling me what the heck you have a problem with. And you sound a whole fuck ton like nobugs, the person who originally did the 300 accounts, because you're not telling me why you're angry or anybody else. I'm out of the loop here. Did you have another channel that I debunked, or what is this? And again, if it's about Fukushima, the facts and the ability of everybody out there being able to go out with a Geiger counter and test things is a lot better than the hypothetical outcome of something you say destroyed the entire planet. when it didn't. Good day, good luck, goodbye.